Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, folks. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I caught myself. I'm your host, Strange Bear Jim, and today we're going to be getting back into Pega studying for the System Architect certification. At least that's my goal. If you're watching this on stream, then obviously you have your own goals. If you're watching my YouTube videos after the fact, then I mean, I'm putting down a lot of the topics that I'm going over, all the modules that I'm going over for 8.7. Um, we haven't gone to 8.8 because I feel like well, I mean, they still haven't done a lot of translations, and I would still want to make this available for anybody to follow, so they can kind of follow on their own language. You know, if maybe they understand English that I'm speaking, but they can't necessarily read it, then maybe I'm helping them out in some fashion or another. I don't know. But obviously, there's other languages that have been translated that everybody can look at if they want to for 8.7. So that's the reason why I picked it. Now, a little bit about me. Um, I'm an unemployed software developer, at least currently. Um, I'm I wouldn't mind having a job as a software developer, but haven't had any major luck on getting and holding one, especially long term. So, um, in the meantime, while I'm handing out resumes and the like, um, I was not able to get my certification um, for the system architect at my last job. So I'm trying to do a more thorough self-study and try to get there, try to get to that goal, so that I can't put the certification on my resume and basically tell everybody that, hey, not only am I, have I been, working in other areas, I've done other jobs, I've learned other languages and like, but hey, I'm standing on the side, I'm still, wanting a job in software development, so please consider me. Um, and I can try to apply for more Pega development jobs because those Pega development jobs, they're looking for this system architect certification. I doubt that. Actually, to be honest, I haven't looked for any jobs in for Pega because I don't have a certification. I doubt anybody would want to hire someone without one. Um, so yeah, there's that. Um, so that's a little bit about me. Now, um, I'm not an authorized training partner, and you should not consider this instructor-led training. Okay. Um, Both should be experts in Pega and should be able to answer your questions. Um, the authorized training partner that we had at my last job, um, for my training group, a good majority of us said this is terrible and we're going to go and do self-study. So, um, it was not it was not ideal. Um, I wish that it was better. Um, but basically they pushed me into trying to take my certification exam too early, and well, I failed it. I didn't pass the certification exam on my first and only attempt. I missed the basic minimum by like 6 questions, I think I figured. Now I still have that list of topics that I need to study based off of that certification exam, but it's good for you to kind of go through um, like the mock questions, um, mission questions, and so on and so forth to see where you stand and what you need to kind of work on a little bit more. Because there's going to be some extra information given that you may need to cover a little bit more. So now, um, but hopefully, if you do get an authorized training partner, they will be absolutely great for you. Now, you can go for instructor-led training. It's going to cost a bit. Um, last I looked, system architect instructor-led training was around like $5,000 or so. Um, so I mean, if you have that available, then I mean, go ahead and try to go for that. Because you'll get a couple weeks of instructor-led training that will hopefully help you get that certification easily. Hopefully, they will know everything there is to know about Pega, and they will go ahead and train you fully to get that certification. Um, but make sure that you get your money's worth out of it too. Okay, ask those questions. Ask them you know all the ins and outs of Pega, and really kind of push them to instruct you because you want that money's worth. You know, you want to be able to get past that certification with ease. Okay, because if they give you a question and they're basically saying, hey, you need to answer like four of the answers out of 8 or something like that. Like there's 8 total answers and you need to and you need to select 4 of them or something like that. Um, the potential for missing that question could be extremely high because, if you miss one of the selections, then they might say, well, you missed the entire question. So be careful with that, okay? Don't think that the certification is going to be, super easy. Make sure that you're prepared for it. So, um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. Oh, also, I do not work for Pega. No, I don't work for Pega Academy. I'm not associated with their company at all. So, I'm not getting any kind of some sort of benefit from them at this time. They're not like paying me money for doing these kind of videos. They're not, you know, helping me with my training. They're not doing any kind of, um, instructor-led training in the background or anything along those lines. Okay, they're not doing that. Okay, if you're thinking along those lines, just remove it from your mind. Okay, this is my own personal journey to get the certification. Okay, the reason why I do these is to try to keep me focused on getting to that end goal. Okay, so um, you know, I mean, if Pega Academy or the people over at Pega want to contact me and discuss potentials, then I'm all ears. I wouldn't necessarily say no to that, but I mean, let's face it, I'm a small channel. I don't really have a lot of reach at this time. You know, they have no incentive on that. Okay, I'm not going to be bringing in them, viewers upon viewers upon viewers. Okay, I get that. I know. So, um, but I'm hoping that I can help you, the viewer who's watching this right now, who might have clicked on this video to maybe get a little bit of understanding about what Pega is. Um, Hopefully you get to learn more about it, and it will help you get that Pega certification. Whether it's the system architect, the business architect, um, or any of the other certifications. I mean, bear in mind, they have multiple certifications, but for me, I'm just covering the business architect and system architect. That's it. Okay. We just finished off the business architect. So if you're looking for a business architect, certain, information, um, I'm sorry you've pretty much already missed it, so you're probably going to have to go back through other videos to check out what I've already done. I'll be posting the last couple of videos for Business Architect fairly soon on my YouTube channel. So, if you're like maybe wondering, um, information about the mission test, and that's at the end, um, then that's going to be available soon. But, um, but yeah, the I'm going to cover the Pega Business Architect um, mission test again today. That was my plan. And then tomorrow I'm going to go back into studying for the system architect. Okay. I'm not going to be spending any more time on the business architect. And that's not technically my end goal personally. I want that Pega system architect certification. This is where my interest is. I don't really have any interest in being a bridge between um, the business or um, the business topic experts and the programmers. I want to be in the programmer side of things. So that's my interest. That's what I'm interested in. So, um, now, other levels of system architect, data scientist, decision counsel, and, AI. Sorry, I'm not going to cover it. I'm too low level to even consider those at this time. So if you're watching this right now and you're hoping that I'm going to be covering more of the Pega AI side of things, well, I'm sorry. I'm not there, and um, the as much as I might have some interest in doing this, I need to work. And the system architect is probably my first step on that. So I need to work in order to survive. So unless of course this YouTube channel blows up, you know, if you're here watching right now, you know what to do to help me out, help me grow. You know what to do. Um, but yeah. So that's what's going on that side of things. So let's go to the dashboard here. Um, if you are working on your business architect, as you can see, I've completed it. At least I've completed the 8.7 version of it. If I switch this over to 8.8, um, it there's quite a bit that hasn't been completed. So um, apparently I've completed the two modules that they haven't changed. But obviously there's a lot of there's the low code app builder 8.8 and low code app builder extended 8.8 that I haven't gone through. So, um, but like I said, there's no translations for 8.8 at this time. So that's the reason why I'm doing the 8.7 out of it all. Okay. If you are doing a business architect, then I highly recommend that you do the Pega Express delivery mission, because there's a lot of additional modules in Pega Express delivery that covers more about what Pega Express is all about. And personally, I think if you're going for the business architect, this whole Pega Express um, side of things is indeed, I feel like it's key for being a business architect personally. Um, is that true out there in the field? I don't know. I have no clue. If you are a business analyst and you want to correct me on that, feel free to. I'm all ears. You throw it into a comment saying, hey, no, you don't really need Pega Express, then that's perfectly fine. Okay. At least someone will be, someone may watch this video and they go, oh, okay, gotcha. You know, but I do feel as though Pega Express delivery mission is something that, you should probably work on at this time. So, um, but the one thing that I want to do is, go through the mission test again. It's 25 minutes, so I have to be a little careful on this. But I want to go through this. I want to look at the questions that I felt like I struggled on, like I didn't have everything kind of memorized. I want to fail them directly. Okay. And I want to get a listing of the topics that they feel that I should kind of work on. Now, the questions do change, and I did get, a couple modules from the first attempt that I made. But I want to kind of go through it again, find the ones that I was still kind of struggling on personally, and see what topics they recommend I should personally kind of go back over again, because it obviously didn't solidify my mind on those topics. So yeah. What is the benefit of Pega Platform Low-Code Development? Pega Platform Low-Code Development increases both productivity and IT involvement. No. Pega Platform makes low-code development easy for very simple applications only. No. Pega Platform low-code development tools create the code for you. Sure, I guess. Pega Platform user interface allows only low-code users to build applications. No. So yeah, let's go through this a little bit. Um, so while sure it increases productivity, it doesn't necessarily mean an IT involvement, at least according to them. I don't understand how that. Um, I don't necessarily understand that thinking. That doesn't necessarily. It kind of confuses me, because IT involvement is all about getting everybody within the IT development to kind of work as a team collectively to get the project out there. So, I mean, so it often kind of confuses me along those lines, because it's like, wait, don't you want IT involvement in that? You want, more um, um, team collaboration. You know, you know, higher productivity, sure, But I mean, team involvement, shouldn't you want to have that? So that's why I'm like, this this one always kind of confused me on the test because I often felt like this would be a correct answer. But according to Pega Academy, INT involvement is not a major process of the low code development. So so that's why this is the wrong answer to them. Okay. The second one, Pega platform makes low code development easy for very simple applications only. Well, sure, it might make low code development easy. That's great, but it can make very complex applications. So the fact that it says very simple applications only, yeah, that's incorrect. So, you don't want that. Okay. And the last one, the Pega platform user interface allows only low-code users to build applications. That's also incorrect. The Pega platform allows for pretty much anybody to go in and build applications. Um, citizen developers, system architects, business architects, managers, leads, anybody really. So it's not just low code users. So which two of the following options are true about the technical design during prepare? Application structure should be organized to support automated testing during the prepare phase. Again, I don't know it. At one for one question they said that the you want to support automated testing during the prepare phase. In another, they talk about how you shouldn't be talking about anything testing during the prepare phase. It doesn't really make that much sense to me, but whatever. Um, Technical considerations include confirming user personas. You don't necessarily need to worry about that. Co-production resources lead to technical design during prepare. You don't need to worry about the co-production, so that's don't need to worry about that. And then, of course, technical design considerations to be confirmed during prepare are authentication scheme, access groups, roles, and organizational structure. I believe that was the correct answers. Yeah. So, um, they're basically saying, hey, you don't need to confirm user personas during the prepare phase, so you shouldn't necessarily worry about that. Even though technically you probably should still kind of consider them, I would imagine, because you still want to make sure that you have the right kind of personas in, um, before you actually start building the code, so who goes where, when, and how. But okay, they don't consider that as something that you need to do for prepare. So, be careful. Be careful with their rewording on this one. Okay, they could potentially reword it, and it might sound correct, but it might not too. So co-production resources lead to technical design during prepare. They basically say that co-production isn't necessary for that. Um, isn't necessary during prepare, which I mean I guess is true, seeing that co-production teams are established during the develop phase. So yeah, it's those two answers. So case lifecycle design is a model to blank and blank. So define how work is completed for each specific customer request. Not really. Define a structure to create, process, and resolve work. Define the user interface appearance. No. Define processes and steps to implement the three necessary stages of work. And apparently, that's not the correct answer either. Um, so, I mean, I guess, yeah. Um, an individual instance of a case lifecycle is used to process the work for each specific customer request. Um, but at the same time, you want the case lifecycle to be able to work for multiple customer requests, not just one specific. So, otherwise, if you have it designed down to just allow for one particular user, it would be a bad design overall. You know, like if you say that, hey, this program is only for those with blonde hair, blue eyes that are over 6'5", that have um super long fingernails, that have a flat top, or they have all these, you know narrowing of topics down to, where it's like, hey, only a select few can actually use this program. Then what's the point of having that case life cycle design? So, I mean, um, so you want to make sure that it allows for, being able to satisfy every customer request, which I guess they're kind of stating in some way, but still. Define a structure to create, process, and resolve work. So, um, which is basically the three stages of the case lifecycle: create, process, and then resolve. So, um, you know, what's kind of strange is the fact that, well, this technically is also, you know, kind of the same thing in a roundabout way. You still have the three necessary stages of work. The create, process, and resolve work, right? It's just, hey, we're adding the fact that we're defining processes and steps, but they're basically saying, hey, define a structure. Okay. So, which two of the following methods can you use to configure one stage in the case lifecycle to advance to the next? Okay, so this this one, is fairly easy to understand. So, while running a case, use the actions menu to change the stage. While you could add something to allow for the actions to do that, um, that's not something that you would, you know, um, uh, that's not something that will, automatically advance to the next. So, you want the change stage step on that. Okay. Now, these last two here, configure automatic stage transitioning in the stage contextual property panel, and configure the stage to resolve the case in the stage properties pane. Okay, so here's the reason why this one doesn't work. Okay, it's trying to say that, hey, this stage needs to resolve the case. There's only one stage that resolves the case. You don't necessarily want the state, you don't want to arbitrarily pick a stage to resolve. There's already one available, meant to be a resolve. So you kind of want the life cycle to get to that stage and then finish off the process. Okay, finish off the life cycle. Okay, if you start, saying, hey, this stage resolves this case, and this stage resolves the case, and this stage resolves the case, then you have just bad design. Okay, you're not going to have a good designed life cycle, you know, to get there. if you're having like multiple resolves going on, then maybe you might need to break that life cycle down into like their own separate life cycles to kind of handle that. Okay, so just saying, you might need to kind of look at your overall design for that. So you want the automatic stage transitioning in the stage contextual properties panel, which you got to remember contextual properties panel. Okay, so you can use the. I like how the fact that they select the ones that you selected first. You can change the change stage step to move between the primary stage and an alternate stage in either direction. One of the options in the stage contextual properties pane is to configure an automatic transition to the next stage. So, um, the definition of ready is agreed during prepare with the Scrum Master and is fixed for the remainder of the project. Okay, so obviously this is false. Um, um, the fact that they put this here doesn't mean crap, okay? Because the Scrum Master is part of this is part of the team. What they should be talking about is the fact that they're saying that it's fixed for the remainder of the project, which is the reason why it's false. Okay, you don't want it to be fixed. So that's the reason why that answer is false. So which two assets are assigned to release and used to estimate the project scope and duration. So it's not case types. It's not channels, so you want processes and data objects, if I'm not mistaken. No processes. Okay, so processes are not assigned to a release to estimate the duration. Okay. Um, I mean, case types are, meant for the full, um, the case type is pretty much the entire project for the most part. Um, so I mean, that's the reason why that shouldn't be selected. Um, I mean, not quite sure why processes shouldn't be on there um, because that kind of determines like um, how many steps you're going to be needed to take during that. So wouldn't that affect the duration, in my particular opinion? But I guess that's not the right case. So I mean, data objects, yes, because for data objects you have to determine like connections to outside resources, um, you know, um, records, data transitioning, so on and so forth. So that makes sense. Um, I don't understand why they're kind of focused on channels on this. Um, because that that doesn't necessarily um, that doesn't necessarily make me wonder, or that channels, to me right at this moment in time doesn't scream like, hey, if you don't have channels, we're never going to be able to get the scope and duration of a project. Um, because that hasn't, you know, that doesn't necessarily say anything concerning the case lifecycle, you know, directly. So that's why I'm a little confused as to why they're so focused on channels on that one. The reason why I'm saying that it's these two, because obviously processes, as we just saw, was the incorrect answer. Case types was also the incorrect answer before, so which I mean makes sense. But I don't know why channels or processes. I don't really fully understand that. Like I said, if anybody, well, here, let me find out what section this is referring to, and we'll go back there and find out why processes doesn't really work. So we'll go back at that. Okay, so Gateway Medical Incorporated is developing a large project guided by a probably project delivery lead. On the large project, Catherine serves as the blank, designing the overall application structure and then managing a team of system architects. So she is a lead system architect. Brian serves as the blank, working directly with blank and stakeholders to understand business needs. So Brian serves as the business architect, working directly with subject matter experts and stakeholders to understand business needs. So, yeah. So, you know, sometimes for some reason I get these two switched around, but um, bear in mind that system architects and business architects are pretty much the individuals that are going to be like really working on the project overall. So, select two use cases supported by the Agile Workbench. Um, you need to adjust the due date for several user stories, which may happen, so especially during Agile. So yes, that's correct. Lead developer creates a new application for the development team. No, that's incorrect. You don't want that in the Agile Workbench. New application is a whole new project, so that why would you want to have that for the Agile Workbench? The project team discusses how many application developers are needed and reports back to the stakeholders. You don't need an Agile Workbench to do that, to report back to the stakeholders. So again, that's another process that is beyond the scope of the Agile Workbench. So during a peer review, the reviewer discovers and records an application bug, which is true. While you're doing applications, so there you go. So, Agile Workbench allows you to establish and modify due dates for user stories, feedback items, and bugs. You can submit a bug directly in Agile Workbench after finding an issue in an application. So, there you go. A microjourney is a small part of the overall customer journey. The microjourney focuses on accomplishing multiple goals. And if I'm not mistaken, that is false because you want the microjourney to focus on, one goal at a time. So, yeah. So, um, so yeah. Um, you're covering their an entire journey, not necessarily their the small part though. So, yeah. Okay. So, directly capture objectives, DCO. So, um, Integration Designer is an example of a visualization tool. I've already kind of gotten this question wrong before, and I believe I already have um, the the section, the module already selected for that. So um, DCO is used during the prepare phase to confirm and validate the 3 pillars of the microjourney? No, it doesn't do that. It's only used for the documentation of user stories during the build phase. No, it doesn't really do that. So, oh, apparently I still need to work on this a little bit. Yeah, that's false. It's not the only layer, so Um, definition ready, which again we're already kind of having some issues with, and the fact that um, it's like, hey, is it defined by the lead business architect? But you know, um, but yet at the same time, um, they're also being approved by the product owner. They're being defined by the product owner. It's like, okay, you know, um, you don't want it to progress sprint planning if they don't meet the definition ready. So that's, we don't really want that. Definition ready is defined during the prepare phase. Um, I think I've already kind of been struggling with this particular question already, so yeah. Yeah, see this question that this right here doesn't really make any sense, okay? The fact that the DoD is maintained by the product owner, the DOR is maintained by the lead BA. Okay, um so the lead business architect can't define a definition ready but needs to maintain it. What's the point of that then? Why can't they define it if they have to maintain it afterwards? Shouldn't they be the ones that are automatically defining it so that they know, where they may need to change things along the way, they may need to be able to talk and know, what, aspects of the project they need to define to be ready, for the project to be released, right? Um, they're talking with the product owner, they're talking with the, um, with the experts, and they're, conveying that information over to the, the project, the lead system architect to try to figure out the overall structure of it all. So shouldn't it be defined by the business architect? From what I understand, they state that the definition ready is defined by the product owner, but it's like, I can understand, hey, the product owner might approve of like the definition ready and user stories and so on and so forth. That makes perfect sense. Okay, they're the product owner. They're looking at it and they're going, yeah, that works, that works, that works, that works. Oh wait, no, that one is a little out of our scope. Let's move that to another project altogether. Okay, they might do that. Okay, I can totally understand seeing them do something along those lines. Okay, but them going and saying, hey, you know, um, in order for this to be ready, we need to make sure that our user interface does this. Um, our data integration has to do this. That seems a little, focused down on what the lead architect might be talking about a little bit. Okay, and that's something that the business architect should be figuring out with the lead architect. So shouldn't they be the ones that are defining the definition ready? So that's why I'm like, this doesn't really make any sense to me as to why that would be a wrong answer. But like I said, if you are a business analyst, okay, or a professional business analyst, and you know the process and so on and so forth, please explain it to me. Because right now, um, I'm not understanding where, the Pega Academy is coming from along those lines. Um, so, in which situation is it appropriate to use a multi-step form? Okay, so multi-step form, basically you need to, um, you know, fill out a lot of information step by step to kind of get through like one particular step or maybe an entire process kind of thing. Um, personal information, job history, and provide a cover letter that could all be kind of handled within a single multi-step. So, um, but it can be done by one person. So having an employees manager, senior manager, and director, that's not part of a multi-step. So that's out. An onboarding case requires an IT member to set up the hardware for a new hire and a faculties member. Again, that's multi-members. So that doesn't really work for multi-step forms. So that doesn't work there. A course selection case requires university students to choose courses they are interested in taking. Their academic advisor must approve their proposed schedule. Again, multi individuals trying to work on a particular form. That doesn't work for a multi-step form, so it has to be four. Okay. Um, which is the benefit for using multi-step forms. Multi-step forms help you organize separate tasks into steps so that you can control how, when, or by whom work is performed for each step. No, that's not exactly true. Multi-step forms provide an easy way to add a step that is pre-configured with functionality to process, such as sending an email. No, that's incorrect. Multi-step forms provide a way to add an assignment that is pre-configured with one or more actions that users can take to a process. No, that's incorrect. Multi-step forms help a single user complete complex tasks by presenting multiple screens in a logical sequence. That is true. That's the one that we want. So, it's like you're basically taking like a resume, the process, where they're filling out, their name, their address, their, sending up their resume and a cover letter, or whatever, and having it go through a sequence to get to the end result of them, sending their resume in or something like that. So, okay. What elements of the plan needs to be reviewed at the end of the prepare phase? Um, uh, number of all right. I think we messed up on this question as well. So, um, I think they basically said assumptions and revised understanding of the microjourney is the correct one. I know that elaboration plan and testing approach is the incorrect one. But I want to kind of go over this particular section again. So, okay, so there's our list again. So automating workflow decisions, that's one that I already have. Exploring application data with insights, that one's I already have. Getting insight into business efficiency, that one I already have. Interesting. Um, alright, well, not quite sure why I got the same exact modules there, but hmm. One thing that I would like to do, to be honest, is I felt like I took a long time with that. Like, this is supposed to be for 25 minutes, right? So what I'd like to do is when it hits 3 o'clock, which is going to do at, just a minute or two, I feel like I want to do a retry and just kind of let it sit there and see what happens when it ends. So it just hit 3 o'clock. I'm going to hit retry. Nope. Start. And okay. So I'm going to wait until 3:25. It's going to be kind of a long process for everybody on this, because you're basically going to be kind of waiting with me on that. But maybe we can talk about, other things for the 25 minutes. Or, we can see what I can do about talking for 25 minutes. Um, okay, so um, again, kind of odd that I got um, the same exact answers, the same exact modules at the ending there. Seems a little odd. Um, Not quite sure why. Um, why they um, why that is. I mean, maybe it was those exact same sections. But wait, it said that I got like 73%, right? So hold on a second. I mean, 73%, that's 11 out of the 15 questions wrong. That means that I missed 4 questions and they gave me 3 modules. Okay. It appears their module test is broken. Because, well, I mean, okay. We already kind of figured that their end result was kind of already broken anyway by the fact that they were showing, 0 out of 0. So, I mean, there's already a little bit of a problem going on there. Now, it could be, there's a possibility that 2 out of those 4 questions might have been also part of this, one of those same topics. Okay, so like there might have been 2 questions in for automating workflow decisions, then one for exploring and one for gaining. That could have happened. It's not, totally outside of reason for that. So that might be a possibility. But they didn't necessarily show that either. So I don't really know. So um so yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, um are they kind of pulling my chain and not showing me the modules that I need to work on? Which is gonna be really unfortunate because um I'm kind of wanting them to help me in the areas that I'm kind of lacking on, to kind of help me study. And if they're failing in doing that, then it's going to be kind of unfortunate because then it becomes a process of, well, you can't even trust their own website to help you study for the certification. I'm hoping that's not the case. Okay. Um, so so don't stress. Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't worry too much about what could be going on there. Okay, because um, you know the um, while I might be having some initial problems here and there. I mean, if your end goal is for those certifications and you can't afford um, the instructor-led training, then I mean, what other choice do you have in the matter? Okay. Um, you could um, what you could do. Okay. Do it this way. Okay. If you're not really trusting what they are referring to, like maybe maybe they're messing up on providing like the right modules for you, right? Let's say it that way, right? Then you're gonna need to do the footwork yourself. Okay. If you're missing, if you click on an answer and the feedback says that you missed it or something along those lines, okay, then you're gonna need to go and check out, the subject of the question in this, for example, this question is all about Agile Workbench, right? Okay, so if you get this question wrong through the feedback, then look up Agile Workbench, study it, find out, what is a part of Agile Workbench, try to figure out, what needs to happen, what is, what comprises Agile Workbench, you know, just kind of look through that, up one side and down the other. Don't, um, because, if it's here on Pega Academy, then it could potentially be on that certification. Okay, it might not be, but it might, but you don't want to have that risk. Do you? You know, you're gonna want to, take the time to look at the, that particular section, review it, learn as much as you can, try to lock everything in your brain, discuss it with someone if necessary, discuss it with friends, discuss it with peers, you know, come here and chat with me in the message, like, hey, I'm having a problem with this particular module. Can you maybe talk with me about it or something like that? That's always a possibility if you want. Um, you could go to my Discord. Um, Actually, I don't know if I actually set up a section in my coding category for Pega. Hold on a second. Did I? No, I did not. So let me go ahead and create a Pega channel. There we go. So, so yeah, I put that under programming, so now anybody um, can check that out if you want. Let's see. or if you have any interest in that particular side of the programming, then you can always, you know, discuss it there if you want. Okay, and that's available to you if you are interested in, maybe asking me questions concerning Pega development. Um, that's kind of my fault in that, I didn't have that particular category, or not. I mean, I had a programming category, but I didn't have any um, specific channels for Pega development um, on my Discord. But it's there now. So if you want to discuss anything concerning Pega development, feel free to go there and you know ask questions. Discuss it with others. If you have any kind of questions, then feel free to put it there if you want. I'll try to go over it myself, and we'll go from there afterwards. Okay. So, um, also if you want to, um, maybe if you want to, you can post your successes. Like, hey, I just got my business architect certification. Yay, here's my results. Kind of thing. That's perfectly fine too. That might help drive others to continue working towards that end goal themselves. Saying, hey, you know, I was able to do it, so anybody else can as well. Okay. I feel like anybody can, um, if you want to work hard enough, you should be able to, get reach that end goal. But um, do what you can on that. So, okay, we're almost halfway through the 25 minutes to get through the test here. So, um, but we'll see what happens here. Um, let's see. Um, Now remember, these mission tests aren't the same as the certifications. Okay. For one thing, they reuse topic topic questions in this mission test. Okay. So it's kind of unfortunate that they do it that way, because it doesn't necessarily, force you to think a little bit more on said topics. But um, but I mean, if you still miss them, then you can always go back to those topics and review, right? Because obviously you need a little bit more in terms of studying and um, checking out what needs to be done on said topic to um, get the right answer. Now, as I've kind of mentioned a little bit, there are some that feel as though they're quite contradictory to each other. I don't know if the topics are going to really answer that very well. Um, I've sent in a lot of like suggestions and questions in, but I haven't been receiving back any responses lately, and that unfortunately, it's kind of unfortunate that you know I haven't been getting nearly the kind of responses that I have in the past, but maybe they can take those questions and figure out, what the best answers for, you know, uh, like, hey, he's talking about this kind of problem in this particular section. We've already been kind of discussing the fact that we need to revamp the business architect, so let's address that in our um, revision of the business architect. They said that they are going to get it done sometime this fall. Um, that could be September, that could be October, that could be November. Who knows? Um, but either way, um, we're going to be kind of without answers, I feel, for the most part, concerning the business architect um, mission for the most part. So I'm hoping that when I start getting back into the system architect section, that they'll come back and start answering my questions. But we'll get to that tomorrow. So again, um, for those of you that are wondering, um, my main objective is to, I just finished off business architect, the mission, going through the topics, going through the submissions, and finally taking the mission test here, yesterday, passing it, but now today, I'm kind of going back through it to find the topics that, they were saying that I was weak on. So, and um, remember, just remember, um, the questions that you see here are not going to be on the certification. Okay, just remember that outright. It's not going to be on the certification. So you got to know the details of what, is in, say, an agile workbench. So when you get to the certification and they ask you, what comprises of agile workbench or something along those lines, and you don't know, what it is, by the time the certification comes, then um, you're going to have a hard time answering said questions on the certification test. And, one wrong answer, that will cause a lot of undue hardship on you. Okay? So, um, be prepared to, um, you know, learn as much as you can. Try to handle any kind of questions that are um, throwing you off, and keep on aiming for that end goal. So, 3:17. So we have 8 more minutes before supposedly the test will end. Supposedly this mission test will end in the next 7 minutes. Just turned 3:18. So if it gets to 3:26, then I know that um, they messed up somewhere. They're not. They're not doing the 25-minute time test. So um, we'll see. Um, I want to see if it will say, test is over. We are processing your test now. With with the questions that you answered and any remaining questions that you have not. I'm hoping that they do that. And of course, you know, right now I have not answered a single question, so I should be getting a 0% out of the out of this test, right? I have not answered any of the questions at all, so should be getting a 0% on the passing score. Um, and it should trigger at, 326 at the very least. It should automatically trigger. I should not have to touch a button or anything along those lines. It should automatically go 326. We are processing your test. Because that's what happens in the certification. And when you're taking the certification, they give you that amount of time and nothing more. Okay. Once your time gets to 0, the proctor will close down your test, send it out to be reviewed, to be, um, to be graded, and then they will send you the results of it afterwards. Okay. So don't feel like there's going to be a lot of wiggle room in terms of um, like, oh, uh, they say that I have an hour and a half, but realistically, I could probably get away with being like 10 minutes over and answering these questions. No, the certification tests are with Proctor. They will um, collect your test at the end of that hour and a half. Okay, um, there's no get wiggle room. There's no flexibility in that. Okay, if you don't get all your questions answered within that time frame, then then all your questions that you have not answered will be marked as an incorrect answer. Okay. So at the very least, make sure that you get all your answers in. Okay. Mark each of the questions with some kind of answer, no matter what. Okay. At the very end, make sure that all the questions have some form of answer to them. Okay. Um, Now you can always go back and review the questions and make sure that they are indeed the answers that you want. Okay. Now be careful with that though. Okay. A lot of people get caught with the idea of, oh, but did I really mean it this way or did they mean it this way? Hmm. I I answered it this way, which is the correct answer, but I don't really know about it. But maybe I should pick this one right here. That is clearly the wrong answer, but it definitely kind of looks that way. That kind of thing. Be careful with that. Okay. A lot of people get caught with that kind of uncertainty sometimes. Um, Mainly because they might not, they're not extremely confident in the subject material. If they're extremely confident in the subject material, they look at it and they go, okay, that is clearly the right answer. There's no second guessing. That one is clearly the only answer out of this entire bunch. I'm moving on. That's a good way of going about doing it. Hopefully you get it right. Hopefully your confidence is indeed confident and correct and accurate. But um, but that's kind of how you want to handle any kind of multiple choice questions, right? If there's a certain level of uncertainty, then you're going to be looking back on that question and going, is it this one or is it that one? I don't know. I could go with either one, and they might, you know, they both look correct, and you're like, and anybody else might look at it and go, well, no, not really, because this particular question is talking about, this particular topic, which is not within the scope of this, like the Agile Workbench is talking about everything concerning adopt or something like that. And it's like, no, that kind of thing, right? Um, so make sure that you are good when it comes to um, that side of things. When you're answering the questions, everything should be good to go. You should be able to get the um, you know, you get the question, you get the four answers, you select the correct, the answer that you feel is correct. Hopefully it is. If you're confident in it, move on to the next one and answer that one. Okay. If you're not certain, I believe there are methods of like taking notes or something like that during the test that the proctor can see. So you could probably, I think you can take like a note and state, hey, I need to go back to this particular question afterwards and hope for, and review and try to, you know, figure if, um, um, like relook at the question and try to answer it. So, my phone just kind of. Okay. Not sure what that was all about, but okay. All right. So it is 3:26. The test should have been over. The test should have automatically gone into processing the entire test. The fact that it hasn't forced me into this is um, is a failure on the mission test. Okay, it should automatically, go into the process of um, it should have gone all the way through, every single one of these steps, and it should have done this right here. So, I'm going to suggest an edit. So I thought at one point during my stream, while I was reviewing the business architect questions and answers, that my discussion was longer than the 25-minute duration allotted for the for the mission test. So I double checked it. I timed the test to see whether it would automatically push me to the results screen after 25 minutes. It did not. Please fix this oversight. It really should um, time you through the test so that it will give you the same feel and results that a certification test would give. All right. So that's it for Pega Academy. Studying for now. We are done with the business architect. I got my list of subjects that I want to kind of cover, or I say that, but again, I don't know. Their mission tests have not been. It hasn't. They're not really feeling all that reliable right at this moment in time, which is really concerning. Um, but but that's where we're going to go ahead and end this particular study session. Um, you know, continue to keep on pushing forward on your own time. For to try to get to that end goal there, my friends. Don't give up on this. Okay. Um, if you want to be a Pega developer, when if then don't give up on it. Okay. So, um, but yeah, that's gonna be it for me. So I'm gonna go. Well, if you're watching this either on stream right now, which I didn't have any chatters, but that's okay. Um, maybe there were some lurkers. I want to thank everybody for stopping on by for the stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, as I normally put these section of videos of these streams, directly into their own playlist for Pega development. Then please help me out with, you know, um, the YouTube algorithm. Do everything you can, to help me out there. Um, I can't do it myself. I need support from you, the viewers, to get through that. So, if you can help me, that would be fantastic. Because I can't do it by myself. I need your help. So, any help that you can provide would be welcomed. So, that's it. That's where we're going to go ahead and end it. So, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll catch you next time. And until then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy, stay safe. And I'll catch you strangers next time. And stop it in recording.